Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Dual Destinies. Previously, we began this trial in the bombed-out courtroom due to the demands of the hostage-taker, Aura Blackquill. And then we got our butts handed to us. Edgeworth pulled no punches, as I would expect from him, and it looks like, Athena was about to be declared guilty of murder. But then, no, one objection rang out. It's Simon Blackquill. He's been like, no, I'm the killer. I'm guilty. So now we need to cross-examine him. And to that end, let's begin, shall we? Oh, I'm excited. I can feel it. This is going to be a great session. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. When I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. Where did she go? And then I committed the act. How cathartic it was. Cathartic? Really? You're such a bad liar. But little Ponko here witnessed the victim falling. In other words...
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would be? She fell means she fell, merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course, meaning she must have left the room. So the murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony. You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself. And she always had Ponko move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponko moved a heavy robot for Athena. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackquill, are you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer, beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell? He's such a friggin' edgelord. Prosecutor Blackquill's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right, so let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx. Don't you dare, Judge! Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackquill. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackquill, you selfish... Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict. Wait, we need to cross-examine him. Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out of here and go save him. No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? I can't prove Prosecutor Blackquill's innocence in this trial. I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackquill's testimony. So press him! Who? Who is it? Well, there we go. She took flight indeed. Athena, what are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might be just the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Sykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know? What are you talking about? Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial? Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try. Feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now. And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and became a lawyer. Thanks. That's because one day I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction.
But, Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You are the accused, after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then...
The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth. Athena is being so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. Here we friggin' go. Okay. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. Right, so he's feeling intense anger. That's, It would be odd for him to feel that way while saying that if he's apparently gleefully telling this story to get himself, guilty of the charge. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. Okay. Boy, this is our best look at his face when he was younger, huh? He looks so normal. Why would he be happy? I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. Huh. No, you should be shocked and angry, not happy and angry. I think the happiness is very odd. This feeling of happiness, even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. What? So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. What? Okay, this opens up a whole new can of worms. You were looking for Athena first, or at least on the way to the lab. Okay. Whoa, straight down to 40? Whoa. Just now, you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes, but the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just a part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. Ugh. The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him, then, bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? You got it, boss. Went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. Info updated. When I found Athena in the robotics lab, I was relieved. Okay, pure happiness. No surprise. But I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And when she did, I plunged the katana in. Okay, that's new. That's new. Earlier at this page, he was showing just pure happiness and a bit of anger, maybe. Now it's pure distress. This upset you. Got it! Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances. Ugh, he can't be talking about that, can he? I was just a convenient subject for her research. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject. What? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. That's new. Was Athena being subjected to yet another experiment? I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. But is this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. Ooh, all right, okay. It went up. Never seen it do that before. Yeah, me either. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie, and it's in an attempt to make his claims sound more believable. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world should I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his baldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause, and let the law free me from these chains already. Objection! I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. Who should I tackle first? Okay. He said Athena had been crying and was asleep as this murder happened. I don't think we have much evidence. I don't think we have just the right testimony to counter with evidence just yet. Yeah, no, I think we'll go with emotions for now. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss. But if you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over. Okay. I heard crying from next door. Of course I was worried. Alright, you'd be surprised and distressed to hear crying, okay. Info updated. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. You were very surprised. Extremely surprised. Okay. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. You were angry at this? I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice. What the hell is... What? What is this? You had no choice, but... Okay, you came to the science center, science lab, the space center, with premeditated to kill her, but now you're saying you had no choice? Oh, you're breaking down, Simon. Why would this distress you? When we view your emotions alongside your testimony, we find the unexpected emotion. Wait a minute. There really isn't anything strange here. Okay, maybe it's the anger here. Thankfully, there's no penalties. They must know this is difficult. It's the anger. Why would you be angry? Really? Okay. Okay, why? Okay, here's a theory. Why weren't you happy why weren't you happy that the person you wanted to murder was approaching you? Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I'm trying to use logic, but I don't want to randomly guess. Okay, this immense amount of surprise is surprising to me. Yeah, I should have trusted my gut. How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? Alright, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponko. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well of my plan to rescue Athena. But she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it? That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponko up with a katana that was there in the lab. That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade.
Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now.
Back to 100. It's at 100% now. What's going on here?
Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate.
It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana. Katanas aren't strong. Sharp I'll give you, but strong? Okay. So now he's saying that Ponko was sliced up when he attacked, but Ponko was charging up. Yeah, I think we have the evidence. Black Quill says that Ponko attacked him in the doorway as soon as the door opened, but here it's Black Quill holding the blade, having cut apart Ponko over by the windows on the far left of the room. I think we got him on this regard, so let's go with his testimony. I think there might be an inconsistency in Prosecutor Black Quill's testimony.
All right, let's give it a thorough check then.
Okay, I guess I want to press all of this. With a feeling of dread, I open the robotics lab door. Just then. Oh, we can't press. Okay. Ponko attacked me. I retaliated by cutting it into pieces. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Okay. Just then, Ponko attacked me. Well, we have the photo that shows him... Okay, this is iffy. The statement I'm contradicting here is, Ponko attacked me, I retaliated by cutting it into pieces, and this evidence shows Black Quill taking the robot apart with a sword. Wait! Yeah! The photo shows he had the blood on the blade already! But this attack where he cuts the robot into pieces happens before the... Yeah, okay, we got him.
Objection!
Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Black Quill. Take a look at this photo. That's the photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it? How many more times must I see that which damned me for my sin? The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the bloodstain at the end of Ponko's arm where it was severed with a katana? I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright. No. Most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood. That's right. But if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture. What? But that couldn't be. Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first, before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Black Quill, your entire testimony is nothing but one giant ball of lies. Gah! Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Black Quill. Now. You have no idea what you're doing.
His voice. There's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something.
Ooh, that's a new animation.
Phoenix Wright, you will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave.
Prosecutor Blackquill, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom?
All of these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings.
Uh-oh. Oh, they're having fun with this. Alright. Following the sound of crying, I opened the loud door and then... I saw it, that terrible scene. What? Before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Tell us more, what is this terrible scene? What's wrong with... Athena? Look, he's doing all this to protect Athena, so it's gotta be her. She's the source of this, right? Coming from one place. When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor?
You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it.
Prosecutor Blackquill, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too?
Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true, right, Dono?
I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door.
Curse you, Phoenix Wright!
Oh, snap.
It was a tragedy, one I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. And standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes as she sweetly said, "Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her."
Oh. Okay. Okay. Boy, that was probably the most grisly thing in the entire Ace Attorney franchise. Hot damn.
That's what I saw, and now you have it. The truth that you so desperately wanted.
No. Prosecutor Blackquill finally tells the truth, and this is what it is? It's beyond devastating.
I tried to take my mother apart. I
Uh-oh. It's not often you see a defense attorney have a breakdown in court. Oh dear. Oh, that's not good.
So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother.
No, not at all. All we know is that... we don't know. We don't know that for sure. Maybe try and mess with the body afterwards, yes, but kill, no. Please? Athena. As I said, Wright, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly at an operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspersions on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart.
She loved me?
Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much?
Yes. My head hurt every time I wore them.
No, Athena. It's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger than that it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life.
No, that can't be true. Then why? Why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much?
Her love for you was real. That I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it.
So you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know.
Pongo was a witness, so I put it in the case, held Athena close, and vacated the lab. I threw Pongo away in the boarding lounge trash chute, and I hid the case on the Space Center grounds.
It would seem that we now have all the facts of this case.
Hold it!
No, not yet. It can't end like this.
Objection!
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you? I'm not. But this... I can't give up now. I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. You know? I could really... do with some help from the sun right about now. The defense is, prepared to present evidence.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Athena?
it's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake.
Athena, what are you saying?
I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall?
It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then, if you would, please take the stand, Miss Sykes. Oh, shit.
Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackquill, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end.
Athena. Prosecutor Blackquill will be cleared and the Dark Age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers.
Liar. There's no blood anywhere near the hilt. All right.
Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Me, pick me.
Objection!
I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright.
But Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
Objection!
I said that you never change, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. It's time to unlock them, bit by bit.
I did a little research. I looked into those special cyclocks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself.
There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart. There might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, that memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence. I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession?
My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers.
There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event, I can just tell. If there is a problem with her confession, please prove it to this court now. Here we go. Clear as day.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor.
But I remember it. I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers.
That's exactly my point. If the blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of the sword. There is not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts.
You're right.
Oh my!
Objection!
The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think. What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? The blood was wiped off the weapon, the defendant used a different weapon. Okay, I'll admit, while Phoenix was talking there, this was my exact first thought. I want to trust my gut. Look, this in no way absolves Athena in any way, but it keeps the ball rolling. We need to gather momentum. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Okay. Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana, that much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocent. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be, exactly? Right, of course you would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here, not now. That's right, I did. Because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? I'm thinking. I'm thinking very hard. Oh. My God. We've gone through like 2 or 3 purgings of irrelevant evidence. Oh my God. If this utility knife was a utility tool used by Space Center techs, I'm not saying this exact knife that was found plunged into Clay Terran's body was it, but I could believe that this blade was on the scene at the time. Wait, so hold on. I think I might be onto something. Holy shit. Okay. That's what I wanted to find. This photo. That open kit on the ground? That's where a utility knife would be, I think. That's what I wanted to say. I think there's a gap in the tools there. Something's missing from it, maybe? Oh, shit. Wait a minute. There is something. There's a high probability that that was in the lab. I don't have that particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. Dude?
Take that!
But that's the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case. Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this one are issued to Space Center employees, and a robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these around.
Objection!
But, besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report if you didn't know.
Objection!
Of course I knew that, once you told me just now. Then here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here is a photo of its contents. Oh my god. Oh my god, those clever bastards. Yeah, I recognize that as the A in Gyaxa. That's that red symbol, but my god, someone rearranged these. That's not spelling Gyaxa, that's A-C-X-A-X-Y-A. Or G. That entire toolkit is rearranged in the wrong order. Dude? You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Huh. Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. I'll have you know that my steel samurai statue is a perfect complement to the warm, dulcet tones of the colors in my office. Yeah. Now, he is simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them. Oh, I see that they do. But what significance does that have? It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man. Show the court then, if you would. What pattern or design would we see if we were to arrange the tools? Gyaxa, it's right there on the pamphlet. Or... That's way more clearer. That's the entire thing right there.
Take that!
And what design is this supposed to represent? The Gyaxa logo, Your Honor. It's on all of the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gyaxa is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center.
Look at how brightly the Gyaxa logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going.
Gyaxa, huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? I think I see it now, but... Yes, with just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot... it would complete the Gyaxa logo. So it would. Then that means... Admit it, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours. And while you're at it... Admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one.
No.
Order. Order in the court. Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous, or are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Black Quill carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or utility knife, as long as we know the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if. Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true, and the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? Here comes the sun. Do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun. Da-da-da. I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if? Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving up, giving into doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her, to the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. Oh, we're doing this! The coup de grace! Okay. Well, I really was expecting Apollo to bust in and help, but I like this way more. I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Ponka witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackquill didn't see the knife at the scene. You know, there is that unexplained gash on Dr. Sykes' coat. Huh. But Prosecutor Edgeworth didn't see a knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it. Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This must mean that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? It must have been Athena. Right? Hold on. Oh shit, no, it is Metis. Blackquill's testimony, he was very pointed in multiple places that he walked into the science lab there, the robotics lab, and then Metis returned. She walked in the door after him. His testimony was loaded with lies and changed constantly, but that was a constant. I think it's true. I think Metis removed the knife from the scene. I think it's true. Oh. Maybe Dr. Sykes was still alive and she's the one who took the utility knife away? Nah, that's definitely not it. Okay, fine, it's Athena. Oh. Well, that's the prosecution's claim. And of course Athena didn't take the knife with her. What kind of lawyer doubts his own client? Oh. Someone else. Fine. I'm a big stinky loser who ruined the momentum of the scene. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude that there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection by disguising as Metis? I know. This person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition feature by covering their own face. But wait a minute, Ponko had a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it. The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection? Metis. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit. Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations.
You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby...
Objection!
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. Because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent.
But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime.
Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Klonko's strange malfunction.
Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay?
Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to.
Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo was possessed by Clay's ghost.
That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Klonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean? Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed. This third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer. But that's impossible.
A mask. The person I stabbed was wearing a mask.
Order? Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something?
A mask.
Oh, from the wall?
Yes, I remember a...
Athena, what is it?
I remember a man with a mask.
A man, you say?
How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head.
Miss Sykes, are you all right?
No!
The Black Cyclops. They're breaking. Oh.
It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered.
They're gone. The Black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day.
I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, And then...
It's all right. I'm here. You're safe, Athena.
She was on the floor by the workbench, with a katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there.
A man?
Hold it!
You know the best part of all this? I have no friggin' clue who the real murderer is. Quiet, Your Honor. Go on, Athena.
He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there, and he dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again.
And this time you got him, didn't you?
I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand.
Oh.
Then he kicked me and I passed out.
The back of his hand? The hand, you say? The hand? Okay. Who could possibly have a knife wound to the hand? What? I don't remember anything about this. Okay.
When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her.
So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived, a man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that?
Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab.
So that's how the crime scene was found. So the person took off the mask. What the hell? This mask hanging here on the wall.
It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom.
A phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has...
You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict.
Miss Blackwell, this is not good.
A new suspect? Where's the proof of this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head?
She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence.
Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother.
Athena, I'm so glad for you.
More and more memories are coming back now, so I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise.
Right, then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m.
Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? Black Quill was the only one to pass through at the time of the crime. 2 p.m. I mean, Black Quill was the only one to pass through at the time of the crime, but we can't implicate him. Can we?
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Black Quill leaving the scene after the incident at around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m. What? We should be able to see that the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then, let's take a look. There, please stop it right there. Okay, what the fuck? Are you... how? Okay, what? Why? Why was this... How did it never come up before that... Alright, you know, I'm just gonna tell myself, okay, because Black Quill admitted to the crime 7 years ago, the police investigation was a rush job, it was done, signed, sealed, delivered, no further investigation, and that's why no one ever found this? What the hell? I'm a little bit mad. I'm a bit mad about this. It's just like you said, there is a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person?
That's him, I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket.
And yet the jacket was recovered to be put on display at the museum.
I did, but what I really wanted to see was her jacket.
That jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes.
Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere.
So then, everything Miss Sykes said. Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were in the lab.
The culprit probably knew beforehand that Pongo charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Pongo to come to the lab for her regular recharge.
By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Pongo into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
Objection!
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that it's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this photo. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket. Oh. Then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back to the lab? Oh, okay. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Okay. Huh. Thinking very hard. The killer in the mask and Metis' jacket got into a knife fight with a child and lost. Their hand got stabbed and part of the jacket got torn up. Then they left the scene without the mask. They left without the mask. They had the jacket on, and then that jacket somehow ended up on the robot lab floor and was later put in the museum as memorabilia. If the killer brought it back, they would have to visit the lab again. But there's no trace of them on the footage. Presumably, the security footage shows the killer leaving, Black Quill entering, then Black Quill leaving with the case and Athena at his side, or held tight to him. How did it get back to the lab? The killer brought it back, the victim brought it back. I mean, the dead body ain't a zombie. It's not getting up. We can discount this entirely, I think. The defendant brought it back. Athena didn't... She wasn't seen leaving the lab or coming back. Except at the side of Black Quill, who was leaving, but they never came back. The only one that kind of makes sense, even a little to me, is the killer brought it back, but I don't see how or why. The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackquill and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose that this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket?
A puzzling question indeed.
When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? When the body was found. He was part of that initial team that discovered the body, maybe. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body.
I would never have thought of that. Order? Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth?
The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the Hat-1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will. We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with the theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Dude? Yeah, if you cross over the list of the 3 people who discovered the body and the list of people whose faces register, that could narrow it even further.
But Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean?
I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, Wright. Not that this was ever an official trial anyway.
Sore loser. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding?
Is it true, boss? Does this mean I
can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackquill are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial?
That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say I see no need to further prolong.
No. Not you either, Your Honor. Now, silence.
The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis and who repaid that love with death. All these years, hating Athena was the only thing that kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anybody tell me? How am I supposed to go on?
Miss Blackquill.
How unlike you, Athena. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that...
Shut up, Simon. You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted.
Oh. Oh, damn, okay. Cool.
Then what did you want from her?
Did you really just go there, Your Honor? Yeah, okay, they're not... Oh, yeah, okay. That's neat. Yeah, representation. Cool.
Ara, there is something I've wanted to say, if you will lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is.
You do?
Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past.
That's right. The Phantom. The person Black Quill has been looking for, even from behind bars.
7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat-1 rocket.
The spy.
But he was no ordinary spy. We knew not about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him.
Oh, how exciting! What was the lead?
A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis. Yet I had hope. Ara's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology.
And that scientist was Dr. Sykes.
Yes. A spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hat-1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording were surely among his targets. But his search of the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic.
He couldn't find them, but where could they have been?
Who is to say?
Wow, bet he's never let that out of his sight all these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison?
Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, Taka.
I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention.
Okay, I just had a thought, but it's too stupid to even say.
Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt.
And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information?
Here, you can see for yourself. But take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor.
I will. I better hold on to this real tight. Phantom Psych Profile. The subject's emotions rarely fluctuate, and he doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. What? Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation, huh?
A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness nor anger, and naturally no fear. He is the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart, don't you see?
Let me see for myself. Oh, nothing more to see here.
This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us all into motion.
The Phantom indeed, a fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then, it seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end.
Whatever. Do what you want.
You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Wait. Hold on. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackquill, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Athena, you're more than welcome. If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. Do 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 do. Da, 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 da. God damn it, I knew it! I just knew it! I knew it! God damn it, Apollo! Oh, well, I guess he did. I called it, so I guess he did bless me with the gift of prophecy, so. Oh, cripes. What now? Apollo! What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago and you saved Prosecutor Blackquill. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet. God damn it. Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? To be continued? Oh, shit! Okay, well, I'm gonna take that as a sign. Save, yes, I will save. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude. Ha! Okay, well, okay, so there I was. There I was. I was prepared to sit down and record until I finished this, but you know what? Hour and 30-minute long video, and we're not. We still got a huge chunk left to go, like a whole to be continued. It's just getting started. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I started to see that. I started to see that coming. Everything looked too good. And I just knew Apollo was due to show up. He had to have some reason to be himself, so, yeah, I realized that, okay, if we're winning, and both people are getting declared not guilty, that means Apollo showing up could only mean that he's gonna prolong this trial. Maybe he uncovered this emotionless faker, this phantom. But who the hell? Okay, so for a while there, I may have been suspecting, oh, wouldn't it be so interesting if the real killer of Mita Sykes was Solomon Starbuck? Maybe, for some reason, it would be so interesting that we got him absolved of one murder, but it turns out he was guilty of another. Even though come to think of it, I don't think there was really any motive. After all, the murder happened before the Hat 1 launch, I believe. And yeah, why would he wanna... Yeah, okay, so... So, I suppose I should say my stupid theory. My stupid, idiotic theory that makes no sense, but is just a hunch. Just this literal gut feeling when I tell you, when Simon Blackquill said that he became a prosecutor to, like, kind of lure this person out and taunt them and everything, I felt a little seed in my gut. I felt it was like a physical sensation. And that sensation was saying a name. Bobby Fulbright? If this phantom has truly stifled emotions that have, like, no reading, it couldn't have been someone we have ever, like, used Athena's widget on. I don't think we ever did that with Bobby. Maybe we did in case 2 in the yokai mansion, but I don't think we ever did. And the more I think about this, the more I think how incredibly impactful it would be if this duplicitous snake was right in front of her eyes, being our friend and ally for this entire game, only to have true devious intentions all along. Bobby is tied to the Space Center. He's been issued there on multiple occasions, and did I? Wasn't he there 7 years ago? For the launch? Look, it would have been... okay, so the killer, the Phantom, it would have had to have been someone who had intricate knowledge of the Space Center. The whole reason the spy exists in the first place, being sent from another nation, was to spy on the Space Center. It's part of the space race. To sabotage them, to be among them. Wouldn't it have to be an employee? But at the same time, I'm like, there has to be some reason, an explanation, why Bobby was assigned to Simon Blackquill and was his watchdog and kept him on a leash. Had the shock collar ready to go with the cuffs that electrocute him if he steps out of line. There's things for my theory and a lot against, but I can't think of anything for the Phantom being anyone else but Bobby. It's just a gut feeling, really. I have, no evidence yet, but I feel so strange. Okay, well, anyway, I need to say this. Anyone who says that, Dual Destinies is a bad Ace Attorney game or isn't that good is lying to you. Freaking liars. This is peak. You hear me? This is peak. I'm losing my shit. Oh, Ace Attorney. Oh, Ace Attorney, you're too good for this world, man. Alright. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more Dual Destinies. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care. My God.